Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some big updates to go over. New information, details and screenshots have dropped for the Nintendo Switch 2 patch of Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet. New Pokémon events and updates have been announced, and as well as that, a day one patch has also been confirmed for the Nintendo Switch 2. There's a lot of things to break down today, so if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, let's go over these new Pokemon events and updates that have been announced. We have the second run of the Metagross 7-star raid battle this weekend. We've got Cerebi here tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Mighty Metagross Terra Raid battle event has begun its second run, with Blissey returning as additional raids. This runs from it runs from now until the 18th of May at 23:59 UTC. The next raid event will most likely be Garchomp because it looks like they're doing them in order, but there might be like a mass outbreak or something instead. Whatever is announced, it should be revealed this Sunday/Monday morning, depending on your time zones. But anyway, that's the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet information. We also have some Pokemon Go updates to take a look at. We've got Cerebi here tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, Pokemon Go has announced the new RSVP planner. So with this, you can now schedule when you will join a raid battle and invite others to join raids at the same planned time remotely. So this is a really cool feature. I feel like it should have been in the game about 7 years ago, but at the end of the day, it is a cool kind of, I guess, upgrade to the game. Again, I don't really play Pokemon Go anymore because I just don't like the direction it's gone in, but for everyone else that still plays it, this is obviously something that's going to be pretty cool. And then as well as that, we have this regarding Pokemon Go as well, saying Cerebi update, Pokemon Go has announced the mechanics behind Crowned Sword Zacian and Crowned Shield Zamazenta, which will also be able to be used in max battles. So that's obviously for like GoFest 2025, all that stuff. We then have an update regarding Pokemon TCG Pocket. So we've got Cerebi here tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, the Pokemon TCG Pocket Alolan Ninetales drop event is now live, adding 5 new promo cards into the game. So those 5 promo cards are Alolan Executor, we have the Alolan Ninetales, which is probably one of my favorite card arts in the game so far. We have Crabrawler, we have Alolan Grimer, and then we also have Toucannon as well. These 3 promo cards are just different variations art-wise of cards we already have in the game, but I think the Alolan Grimer and Toucannon, they are promo cards, but they are actually brand new cards as well, so the moves that they have and stuff are not present on any other cards. And then in regards to the actual drop event itself, it's the exact same as usual. Every time you complete it, you got a chance of getting a promo pack, unless you do it on Expert where you're guaranteed the promo pack, and the first time completion rewards as well, you'll get XP, pack hourglass, stuff like that. The main cards you're going to be going up against are, of course, Alolan Ninetales and then Crabominable EX as well. So pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. This is, I don't know how many drop events we've had, but you know kind of the drill. And of course, if you do want updates on all of the Pokemon TCG Pocket news, we do have a Pokemon TCG Pocket channel in the description down below, so make sure to go check that out if you want to see all of the stuff about that. And then as well as that, if you are in Japan, we have some mystery gift updates. We've got Cerebi here tweeting out saying, Cerebi update, several distributions have been announced for players attending the Pokemon Japan Championships 2025. 2024 World Champion Rei Yamanaka, I hope I pronounced that name right, Amoonguss will be distributed. I feel like this is the 4th or 5th Amoonguss distribution we've had, but it's just because everybody uses it in competitive. 8 medals will also be obtainable in Pokemon Home as well. Now, I think this is just if you go to the Japan Championships. You won't be able to get this if you are not going, but at the end of the day, it's just an Amoonguss. We've already had so many of those, so you're not really missing too much. But anyway, those are all the most recent Pokemon updates. Moving on, let's take a look at the new Nintendo Switch 2 updates that we got today, which is including Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. So of course, the Switch 2 is out in what, like 20, 19 days, something like that. It's very, very close. And on day one, we are going to be getting a ton of patches for Switch 1 games to make them run better on the Switch 2. We are also getting a day one patch for the console itself, which we'll cover later on in this video. But as of right now, let's take a look at the patches for the games. So we've got Game Rant here tweeting out saying, Nintendo details a selection of games for the original Nintendo Switch that will receive free enhancements on the Nintendo Switch 2. So we have the article here saying, to prepare the upcoming release of the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware, Nintendo has unveiled a list of Nintendo Switch 1 games that will receive free enhancements, set to release worldwide on June the 5th, 2025, so day one. The Nintendo Switch 2 is the next generation of Nintendo Switch hardware with enhanced capabilities that will apply both to older titles and new original games. So the release date of Nintendo's next-gen hardware is looming ever closer, and while fans and Nintendo executives alike ponder the potential for the Nintendo Switch 2 supply problems, the company itself is making sure owners of the current Nintendo Switch hardware will find some value in an upgrade. So early on, Nintendo confirmed that the Nintendo Switch 2 will use a combination of hardware and software solutions to address the issue of backwards compatibility, allowing it to play most of the existing Nintendo Switch 1 games. A few of Nintendo's most popular titles on the Nintendo Switch 1, such as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, will also get special Switch 2 editions that you have to pay for. Those are upgrades, allowing them to take full advantage of the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware. While there are many Nintendo Switch 1 games that won't get Switch 2 editions, Nintendo won't leave them all out in the cold. On the official Nintendo website, the company recently published a list of select Nintendo Switch 1 games that will receive free updates to enhance their performance on the Nintendo Switch 2. The list includes even a few early Switch titles, like the unique motion-controlled fighting games ARMS and the popular table game collection of Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. So, this is the list of games and what they're going to get. So, of course, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is in this, but we'll take a look at it in more detail in a second. But basically, for the game ARMS, you're going to get optimized visuals, optimized frame rate, and HDR support. For Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, you're going to get game share and game chat support for up to 4 players in party mode. For Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, you're going to get optimized visuals, HDR support, and game sharing game chat support for up to 4 players. Up to 2 players, should I say. You're going to have, for Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, game sharing game chat support for up to 4 players across 34 games. For Game Builder Garage, you're going to get optimized visuals and then also support for Nintendo Switch 2 mouse controls via the Joy-Con 2. For new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, you're going to get optimized visuals. For Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, we're going to get optimized visuals and optimized frame rate. So the frame rate has been confirmed to be better for the Switch 2 upgrade, and we're going to have better visuals as well. And we've got some gameplay screenshots to take a look at in a second, but that's the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Switch 2 patch update. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, optimized visuals, optimized frame rate, HDR support in Bowser's Fury, game share support, 4 players in Super Mario 3D World, 2 players in Bowser's Fury, game chat support, Super Mario Odyssey is going to get updated, optimized visuals, HDR support, game share and game chat support for up to 2 players, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, optimized visuals, HDR support, and then Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is going to get optimized visuals and HDR support as well. The list Nintendo published is mainly limited to games published and developed by Nintendo itself, and includes updates scheduled to go live alongside the release of the Switch 2 on June the 5th, 2025. It also includes previously confirmed updates like the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Switch 2 patches. Third-party publishers will determine their own priorities when it comes to releasing updates for their Nintendo Switch 1 games, or if they'll commit to distinct Nintendo Switch 2 ports. The list also doesn't mention performance updates for games that are getting their own Switch 2 editions, like Breath of the Wild or Kirby and the Forgotten Land. While Nintendo hasn't committed to issuing patches for the Switch 1 versions of those games, it has said some Switch 1 games will see a performance boost simply from being played on the Switch 2's more powerful hardware. Whether that will address their issues with performances or satisfy fans that are unsure about upgrading to the new console is a different matter. So those are all the kind of patch notes for all of those different Nintendo Switch 2 updates, including Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, as well as all the other games as well. So yeah, that's all of that. Moving on though, let's take a look at the screenshots and the extra bit of information regarding this patch for the Generation 9 games. Got PokeJungle here tweeting out saying, we've updated our article about the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Switch 2 update to include the pair of screenshots that were released on the Japanese website. So they say, while it was known that Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet would receive a free update for the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 console, no specific details were shared. Nintendo has now shared more about the Switch 2 updates, and we have a slightly better idea of what to expect for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. So scheduled to be released on June the 5th, the free update for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will primarily affect 2 aspects of the game. So, visuals, optimized for the Nintendo Switch 2 display and high-resolution TVs for improved image quality. And then for the frame rate, it is going to be improved for smoother movement on the Nintendo Switch 2. So for me, that means that we're not going to have like laggy kind of places, you know, lag tree thicket as it's been known now. Obviously tag tree thicket is what it's called, but you know, it's just a bit of a meme. Hopefully you can go through that easily. You know, on the water it's a massive issue where the frames just absolutely plummet. Hopefully that's been fixed. Again, we were all expecting it to be fixed on the Nintendo Switch 1. It never happened, but for the Nintendo Switch 2, you're definitely expecting a massive upgrade because the console is just that much better. So we'll obviously have to wait and see, but it looks like it's going in the right direction. These are the screenshots as well, so we have it would have been nice for it to, I mean, we need gameplay footage really. Like, screenshots don't really help. Like, the game generally looks better, like, visually. And something else that I've noticed as well, there's a lot more Pokemon. You know, when you go to this area in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Nintendo Switch 1, you don't get this many. You know, there's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 15, 20 Pokemon on screen right now, which is like an outbreak. But that's just in this area. And they're all different Pokemon as well. You've got Tropiuses, Gyarados, Slowpoke, Sligoos, Vaporeons, Scythers, all sorts. So, for me, that's something that I noticed straight away. That, yeah, we are going to have a lot more Pokemon spawning, which makes sense because the game is going to be able to run so much better on the Nintendo Switch 2. And this is the other one as well. We've got like a bunch of Tauros here. We've got Psyducks, Tadbulbs, Skiplooms, everything like that. So, yeah, like I say, the game visually looks better. I mean, in terms of like colors and stuff, that looks better, but you know, you still got like your jagged mountains and everything like that looks the same, which aren't going to be improved. But yeah, I mean, look, it's not something that I'm going to be spending loads of hours in. I've already spent loads of hours in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I've pretty much done everything you can do. It's just going to be nice if you haven't really played much and you can now experience the game as what it should be. Again, I don't think it's going to... The game's good. Like, I don't know. For me, I feel like they're fine. They're not my favorites at all. But, you know, it's going to be nice to be able to play it without having to worry about lags and bugs and glitches and everything like that. And then hopefully this addresses some of the performance issues that have plagued the titles, but it is yet to be seen how extensively the update will improve things. It's also unknown if this will affect things like pop-in and draw distance. So, yeah, that's all of the updates for the Generation 9 patch for the Nintendo Switch 2 for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Let me know your thoughts on it, though. Do you think that it is needing more, or do you think this is going to be enough? Hopefully we get visual gameplay soon so we can actually see how it runs, because like I say, screenshots doesn't really help in terms of, like, the frame rates, because it's just one frame of footage. So anyway, that's that. Let me know your thoughts on it. Finishing things off for today's video, though, we do have a confirmation of a day one patch for the Nintendo Switch 2 console itself. We've got Nintendo Everything here tweeting out saying Nintendo Switch 2 reviews could be limited, system getting big, day one patch. So, a new report claims that reviews for the Nintendo Switch 2 could be limited leading up to launch, which is at least in part due to a significant day one patch that is required. So Nintendo has been informing some journalists that they will not have access to a unit until launch day. The game business spoke with 4 such media members, including 2 described as very, very senior journalists in the games industry. So also throwing a wrench into things as Summer Game Fest, the big media event is happening during the same week as the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, with many congregating in Los Angeles to preview upcoming titles. That means some will need to cover the new console while also working at the event. All of this doesn't mean there won't be any reviews at all, but perhaps they could be more limited. The game business says some third-party publishers supporting the new system at launch have been stunned by the situation with reviews, as unnamed PR boss believes they have something special for the Nintendo Switch 2's debut for those that want something else in addition for Mario Kart. However, that person said the lack of independent critical validation is going to make it very hard for us, and wondered whether they would have been better off waiting a few weeks. So you can keep track of all the big Nintendo Switch 2 news as it drops there. So there's going to be a big day one patch for this console. No idea what it's going to be. I don't really know. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't really understand it all, but I don't know how there can be a day one patch. Surely that's just already should be on the console before it gets really. I don't know. Maybe I don't really have. I'm a bit clueless about it all, but I'm just bringing you the news. But yeah, it just doesn't really make sense. Like surely the patch would already be applied before you turn on. I don't know. It's one of those things, but it's not common. We usually get these big day one patches anyway. We've got Oatmeal Dome talking about this as well. He's saying journalists will not get Switch 2s for review until just before launch due to a massive day one patch, claims the game business. Notably, a recent video on Nintendo Today showed off a Switch 2 running firmware 20.1.0. The Switch 1's latest firmware is 20.0.0. You know, a massive day one patch isn't uncommon for Nintendo. For the Switch One and the Wii U, Nintendo loaded an incomplete version at the factory 1.0.1 and then had to release a day one patch 2.0.0 to finish the OS. The Nintendo Today video I previously mentioned is attached below. So yeah, it's not news to us. We usually get these day one patches, but yeah, I'm just a little bit clueless about it. I don't really know how it's a thing, but I'm sure there's a good reason as to why. But anyway, that's going to be everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 500 likes. It does really help out. Leave a comment with your thoughts on everything we covered in today's video, your thoughts on the day one patch, your thoughts on the Gen 9 Nintendo Switch 2 patch update, the visuals, and the increased frame rate. Are you going to be playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet more if they fix everything, or are you just kind of done with those games now? You're just waiting for Legends EA? And then also let me know your thoughts on all of the events and updates as well for various different Pokemon games and apps. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, like I say, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.